Hi guys, I'm Yusuke from Ynkaratedojo waKu, and the topic for today is going to be 3 mottos I have as a coach. I always keep these 3 points in the back of my head when I coach somebody or a student. So by watching this video, you can learn the mindset of coaching somebody. This is different from teaching. So if you're in a position of where you have to coach a coworker, or let's say you're a sensei, a karate sensei, then you can learn the mindset of how you can coach. If you're not in a position like that, there's also merit for you because you can learn the best way to use your sensei to his or her full potential. Maybe you feel like your sensei isn't teaching you enough. Well, that might be related to your questioning skills, so that will come later in the video. So let's get straight to the 3 mottos I have. These are don't teach, that's the first one. Provide multiple solutions, and always readjust. So let's start with the first one. Don't teach. We might be thinking, what do you mean, Yusuke, right? So when I say teach, teaching refers to this diagram. So a student, there's a student and the sensei, and the sensei is only providing the solution to the student. So it's not a communication, it's a one-way deliver of message. That's what I mean by teaching. And usually, for example, let's say you're a sensei and you're watching everybody do the kihon, and you see one student that's lacking the hikite. Let's say his or her hikite is open. A sensei mentioning, okay, you have to fix your hikite, that's teaching. Okay, I think you can picture that, right? When I say coaching, there are 2 steps. First, step number 1, the sensei asks a question to the student to gain the background information. What kind of student would that be? Well, this diagram becomes very useful. So first, the sensei, or when I do coaching, I always think about or ask the student's goal first. What do you want to do? What's your aim for the practice that you're doing right now? And secondly, you ask the hypothesis. So to reach your goal, what are you focusing on right now? And at last, you see, or maybe ask, the current situation, the current status that he or she is in. So then you give the solution. So let's take an example of this. So the current status is, okay, you're the sensei, you see the student lacking hikite. See, that's what you see. Now, if you just teach, there's no information for the goal or the hypothesis, right? You just see, this is the only information you have. So the only thing you can say is, fix your hikite. But if the student has something else in his or her mind, then there's going to be a gap, and your advice is going to be useless. When you coach somebody, yes, you see the lack of hikite, but let's say you ask the student, okay, what are you focusing on right now, right? Then he or she might say, okay, I'm improving on my relaxation because I always tense up my shoulders. And his or her hypothesis would be to practice punching by intentionally opening the elbow. So he or she might have been doing this, right? But then since he or she felt like they were tensing up too much, now they intentionally open up. They know it's incorrect, but for the purpose of the relaxation, they did this to punch. So now that you know that, you can change how you message how you message your solution. So in other words, don't teach literally means don't skip to solutions. You always think about the background information. That's my first motto. If you liked the video up to this point, I do online group lessons as well. So if you would like to learn karate with me and give you guys personal feedback, then please consider subscribing to my group lesson as well. Second motto, provide multiple solutions. Let's take the same example. You see there's a hikite problem, but the student is focusing on relaxing, right? You should always set in your mind that the goal, right, of your advice isn't to say the solution. It's to help the student reach his or her goal. That's your role. That's your goal. So yeah, like I wrote here, to help the student improve his or her relaxation. That should be your goal as well. The potential solution, and I say potential because if you just suggest one, that's not gonna be enough. Maybe it'll fit, it'll click in the student's mind, but I think there's a low possibility if you're just starting out this method. So you should be saying multiple solutions. Maybe your problem is maybe you picture yourself as a squid or water. That might help the student with the relaxing problem. Or don't pull back, but tuck in. Maybe that might be the case. Maybe exaggerate the movement, because if you're stiff, you're only moving a little bit. Or bend the knee more, and so on, etc. So there can be many possible solutions. So I always make sure to say, okay, maybe this will help you out, so let's try this. If you have taken my lesson, I'm pretty sure you heard me saying, I'm not sure if this will suit you or if this is going to click in your mind, but I'll just let you know because there's a possibility that it will click in your mind. And I try to deliver at least 2 or 3 options every single time. And the last one is always readjust. Yes, it is important to offer multiple, right? But the quality of your advice should be improving as the number of conversation between you and the student increases. By talking more with the student, you can learn what their preferences are. So maybe they're better at focusing on the upper body, their arm, rather than your leg. Maybe they're more of like a feeling kind of person than a logical person. Then you try to incorporate maybe more onomatopoeia, more like picturing, imagine, blah 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 kind of sentence. And yeah, other ways, like maybe the student might not like to be talked to that much. So maybe you leave the student to practice on their own, and then you might go in once in maybe 30 minutes. But for other students, they like to have conversations, so I would go talk to them more. This is the third point that I always keep in my mind. But if you have listened up to this point, you might be thinking, what if my sensei only teaches and doesn't coach? I'm pretty sure there are scenarios where your sensei doesn't understand or maybe hasn't noticed the importance of coaching, and that they're only limiting themselves to teaching. Well, like I said in the beginning, there is something that you can do to gain much information as possible from the sensei, because he or she knows it, but she or she might not have the skill to deliver the message to you. So it's up to you to have better questioning skills. Let's say your sensei tells you, pull back your hikite more, but you're focusing on something else, right? Don't just neglect it. Don't just get that out of your head and forget about it. You have to question him. First, share your goal and your hypothesis, and ask the connection between your goal and the comment or the feedback that the sensei might have given to you. By you stepping in a little closer to the sensei can now understand what you're looking for and readjust what the message can be. So yeah, please try that out if you're a student and might be having a little difficulty communicating with your sensei. And if you're in a position to, coach somebody, I hope these 3 lessons, this one helped you guys a lot. And most importantly, if you want to, experience my coaching by becoming my student, then please consider subscribing to my online group lesson. And I hope to see you guys there.